Welcome to Talk Around Riyadh, the Wheel of Time showcast. I am your host, Joe Perry, here with my co-host, Tom Kokoza, and not Jen Isgro. But don't worry, because we have somebody else here with us. We have Omar from WoTSeries. Omar, how you doing?
Great. I think. How are you?
I'm doing well, Omar.
Excited.
I could tell.
It's great that we're going to be talking episode 8. So yeah, let's do it.
Oh, no, Omar. Did you not get the memo?
I got the previous one.
Tom, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, Joe. Yeah, it should be a fun episode. Jen has ditched us for the week, but Omar is here, and he's just generally one of my favorite people. So I'm very happy that we have such an esteemed guest with us tonight.
Yeah, and it fits because we're going to be talking a lot about some of the WoTSeries articles. And I mean, some news, obviously it's all news, but some of them are the WoTSeries articles that came out. So it's great that Omar is here to fill in any gaps, perhaps, or clarify things that Tom and I don't understand because we're illiterate. We can't tell you where Jen is this week, unfortunately. It's a secret. And maybe she'll tell you next week if she comes back. That's all I'm going to say. All right.
Find out.
Before we get into like our traditional news, hey, did you guys know that the SAG-AFTRA strike finally ended?
Oh, yeah. I heard something about that everywhere.
Yeah. Recently, for the past 4 months, the Screen Actors Guild has been on strike. They finally struck a deal, effective, I think, 12:01 a.m. Pacific time on Thursday. The strike ended. So I think it's time for them to get back to work. We were fortunate enough to get all like the cast members of the Wheel of Time, even though it's not a SAG show and they weren't on strike. A lot of them were not promoting the show at all or, posting anything from the show. So there was like tons of photo dumps on like Instagram this past week. It was pretty cool. Any favorites of pictures that you guys got that you liked?
I try to make it before the episode. There's a video of Perrin dancing, and I stitched together a video of Avienda saying, "Perrin Navarro, do you like to dance?" And then Perrin dancing to Baby Shark. This was like a couple months ago.
Oh yes, in that like apartment.
So I'm redoing this again, but the sound wasn't working on the second part of the video. But I'll finish it after this episode. So yeah, that one. Anytime you get Perrin dancing is great.
Yeah.
Or Marcus. Marcus.
That was fun. How about you, Tom?
I think mine might also be a Marcus photo. The one with him and the actor who plays Hopper. Just like,
oh yeah,
I guess just like a man and his wolf. It really, I don't know, whatever. Like, I'm not a particularly big animal guy, but that hit me in the feels.
Wow. Would you get a wolf one day, Tom, as a pet?
No. I wouldn't want it to eat my children.
Okay.
I think maybe on some days. I don't know. When they're really pissing me off.
We have a fox in our backyard, so.
Yeah, there's a fox in our yard too. It was sleeping on the rock the other day for like half the day, just in the backyard. I got some pictures from far away, but nothing really that great. I think my favorite is I think maybe Kira posted it. I don't remember. It's the one of like the 6 of them. It looks like it was like after they finished filming episode 8, because they look like they're on the farm set and they're all in those costumes, and it's just the 3 guys and this. Iula's not there, right? She's not in that picture.
She's not. No,
yeah,
she's
the one missing from the picture.
Yeah, it's like the people who are on top of the tower,
Yes. Yeah, that's a good picture of them. I really like that. It's great. So it looks like the writers, not the writers, sorry. The Screen Actors Guild made out pretty well. Just like I was looking through the just basic terms, at least that they have posted or that they highlighted on the website, and they got more than $1 billion in new wages and benefit plan funding. The minimum compensation increased. consent and compensation guardrails on the use of AI, which I know was a big thing that they were fighting for. They were worried that they're going to get replaced by AI, and then also some increase in pension and health whatnot. So it's good that they're back. It's good that everything's starting up again. Again, this really didn't affect the Wheel of Time in terms of production because it's not a SAG show. So, but it's great that all the other shows that were on pause or not filming or whatever are going to be starting to film again, and that all these people got all this great benefits from it. So that ends hopefully for the next, I don't know how many
3 years.
3 years.
So it's a 3-year contract.
We wanted to catch up on some news, right? We did catch up on a little news last week, but there's still some more news we didn't catch up on that came out during the show release. And I think also we got some recent news from WoTSeries, so we could talk a little bit about that later. What I want to do though is talk about something we never got a chance to talk about, and this was at the end of another strike, the writer's strike back in September. Rafe was on Twitter and he did a Q&A there. He answered a lot of questions on there. I feel like this is like the most he's ever answered, and he's probably had a lot of pent up communication he wanted to do there. Were there anything in particular either of you thought was interesting? I've got a list here of a few things that I want to go through, but I'll give you guys a chance to bring up anything you wanted to talk about.
Guest first. I don't want to pick something that you were also going to pick. I do have one.
I also
do have
don't
one
want
that
to
I
put you
found
on the spot right now. So go ahead, Tom.
All right. I just want to. So the one that struck me as interesting, I think, is one of the more unexpected ones for me. Wild Hogs 2011 asked, "What part of the 6 episodes that we've already seen have you the most excitement or interest in? How it will link to future plot lines from the books due to changes in the show?" And he said, "Anvir."
It's on there.
On there. Sorry, it's my New York coming out. Anvir. So yeah, I find that really interesting. It wasn't a character that I thought was necessarily going to be around much in future seasons, if at all. And apparently that's not the case. And I think that's that sparks my curiosity.
Yeah, I noted that one too, Tom. I was trying to think of what role she could play in the future, and I was thinking maybe she's going to be replacing Caroline Damodred, Maureen's cousin. What do you think?
Possibly.
What about you, Omar? You any thoughts on that one?
I've heard some people, and again, the pronunciation always, that they said that Anvir might replace Colbert later. And how are we on spoilers, by the way?
Full book spoilers.
Okay, yeah, and I personally don't like that because honestly, Anvir, like Colbert was never, like in my book at least, was never there wasn't a real goodness to the character when all was said and done, because she was just kind of like, this is the Dragon Reborn, savior of all mankind at the end, and you're plotting against him openly, kind of. I didn't get that feeling from who Moraine's sister showed herself to be when all was said and done, given what she ended up doing to her own son, finding out he's a dark friend. So just kind of like, I don't like that. I honestly like the character as it stands on its own. Somebody who was mentioned, I think, in New Spring, and she brought a lot of depth. Honestly, acting chops. She was one of the best of the season. And she brought some of the best in Moraine, the character, and in Rosamund Pike, the actor, I thought. So I just like her for, it's a character that was very buried with one mention of her, and she's really good. Her storyline is good. I would just keep her as is, give her whatever storyline to explore. Like here, I think in season 2, we got to see some of the parts of Carian that we got to see when Matt and Rand were there, and the Game of Houses and everything. We distilled all of that into the Damodred's household with
the party
there. So I think just let her be that. It's great. And if you need to bring out more of Moraine and have that, I like it. So
yeah. When I heard people say Colavir, I was like, is that just because their names end in Veer? It's like there was no. I was like, I didn't see it. I was like, what are you talking about? There's no. She's from Kyrian.
She's like the opposite.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. I immediately thought Caroline Damage Red because she plays a role later on in the show, so like in the books, and she pops up here and there. So why not just have her do that role? Like she'll fill that role. She could become, the or marry. I don't even know if we're gonna get any tier. If we're ever gonna go to tier. So I don't know if that would even be a potential story to explore with Caroline Damage Red. Maybe it's Dylan, like something she plays the role that Dylan played or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. She could just be advisor to every would-be royal in the region.
Yeah.
Maybe Dobrain's part.
Yeah.
Oh, Dobrain. Yeah. He's the only other. What about who else we got? I'm trying to think of notable Kyrianans from the books. Dobrain he's a great one. Talmanas.
Talmanas, Dared.
I don't know if she's gonna be Talmanas.
I'm just thinking of
it would be interesting.
Yeah. Her and Matt Coffin being best friends. That
would be good. I'm excited to see what they're gonna do with her. I imagine they're just gonna fold her into just give her some parts that other characters might fill, or parts of those parts, just to make it make more sense. I'm gonna read the first one that I noted. It's a conversation we've had in the past. Many times, so we'll try not to talk too much about it. At Dubs, what is going on here?
What's going on where?
Oh, Jen joined to listen, I guess. Oh, now she's gone. I'm sorry, I got distracted because all of a sudden a thing came up that said Jen Isgro. Sorry about that.
This is captivating. I hope this makes the final cut of the pod.
No, sorry. It distracted me because it's showing on the video. It's just I have the video up and then it popped up. Sorry. So at Dubs13207 tweeted, will we find out why Loyal survived? That's the biggest gripe I have so far. Really, the only one. And I'm just sitting here in a WAFO torture mode. This is something we talked about many times. Rafe responded, we all have scars we bear from COVID. Loyal has one applied right to his chest whenever he shoots without a shirt.
There you go. That's it. He got better.
The first rule of Stab Club, we don't talk about Stab Club. So I guess maybe the knife doesn't work on him like it would on others. The dagger, because he's Ogier.
I don't know. Yeah. I really don't know. We're not gonna get. It sounds like we're not gonna get an answer though, and that's all we're gonna get. So I would like to see that scar. Like, I think the more important thing here is that we're gonna get some topless Ogier scenes in the future.
What? What?
Isn't that what everyone's excited about?
As they work on the topless towers of Kyrian?
I don't know about that. The topless tower. Is that what they call? No, forget it. What else do I have here? At Read More, y'all. Oh, we know who that is.
Yes,
are we introducing some fallibility to Min's visions in comparison with the books? Rafe said no, only in her interpretations. Deleted scenes coming, that helps. We haven't seen any deleted scenes yet, so.
I would like to note that I flew to New York to see a deleted scene.
I was going, yes.
And did not. I mean, I was hoping because last time, you all were there, they showed a couple of scenes, right? They were exclusive. Yeah. So I thought he talked about deleted scenes. So we're going to see them at New York Comic Con, and nope.
What did they show at Comic Con when they turned the screen down? Was it just like a scene from season 3?
No, it was just regular trailer stuff. Like, I can't even remember. It was stuff we've seen before. It was like just a sizzle reel. It wasn't really anything exclusive.
It was season 2 stuff though, right?
Yeah, season 2 stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I like how they hid it. Like they didn't show it on the live stream.
Oh, really?
But it wasn't anything new, so whatever. But yeah, Min fallibility, right? I think this was a conversation we had about her interpretations of her visions, and there was a lot of question around like if what she saw was real or not, or was going to happen or not. And I think one of them specifically everyone was talking about was, and whether or not we've seen it yet, is the that Swan or the Amerlin is going to be Moiraine's downfall. And I was wondering what you all thought about that, if that has anything, if this answer had any effect on that thought for you.
Oh, I honestly read this as her interpreting, if you go to Falm, you'll kill Rand.
Yeah.
When like that's the only thing I applied this fallibility to, was that. I just think that they're gonna figure out some way to make one of the Amerlins on this show be Moiraine's downfall. Like I didn't think that I didn't connect that to that prophecy, the fallibility to that prophecy.
Yeah. So who's going to be Moiraine's downfall? I'm still laughing.
Just tell me, damn it.
Just tell me. I know you both know. Just fucking tell me.
Are you like which Amerlin?
I want to know who.
Well, I don't think it can be Swan. It needs to be the other one, right? Elida.
It's going to be Elida. It's going to be her downfall. But like how? Like in the books, Elida is not her downfall. So I'm kind of curious.
True.
I think it's going to be Egwene.
Ooh.
I think, but not in a way like Egwene's gonna like do something else. I think they're gonna, however the end of her is gonna be, you know, her whatever the show's interpretation of the Docs Carrion.
Yeah.
I think Egwene's gonna do something she shouldn't do. She's gonna think that she can fight a Forsaken, perhaps because she's done it before, and Moiraine's gonna get involved, not to save Rand, but to save Egwene, and that's going to cause her downfall. That's my interpretation. That my prediction for this.
Now that I think about it, Swan could be her downfall, not because she wants to, but maybe because of what happens to Swan in some way that Moiraine reacts to something that happens to Swan.
Also true.
Yeah. So, which we sort of know is coming in season 3, right? The like Swan event.
Yeah.
I mean, you could loosely attribute it to that, right? Because it's the downfall of all the Blues, right, Swan? Because the Blues,
I like that.
Get disbanded, by Elida. So, I mean, that's you could stretch it, I think, to that.
That's a good thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, one thing I do want to point out: Min's visions, even like they're in the books, when she sees something, she could see like a plate and say, oh, you are going to be a person from this country that makes plates. Like she doesn't have to see somebody stab somebody to say it has something to do with stabbing. It's usually some other sign, but the visual of it in the show, it has to always be kind of connected. So like that makes the interpretation kind of a little bit wonky. That I'm really, like I said, I don't know how to read your downfall, but I honestly, the best one I like is the downfall of the Blues, even though I don't think that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
So in chat right now, people are saying like an Amerlin in full regalia. I don't know what that's from. You don't see, right? Do you see an image of it?
No, I think that's what Min says. She says the Amerlin in full regalia. She's going to be your downfall.
Okay. Yeah. So I get it. I think that's not a like it doesn't make a difference. Every Amerlin is eventually at one point going to be in regalia, whether or not that's tied into the downfall. And I don't know if whatever happens to Moiraine in the series is going to be the same thing that happens to Moiraine in the books, right? Or how, right? So
yeah,
there's a lot of options here.
Yeah, that's definitely a lot of options. Here's an interesting question that Rafe answered, and this goes directly to something, Tom, you've been predicting for a while. At Jason Fifield tweeted out, obviously Leandrin's excellent character and story arc for the show has been expanded from the book. Is she also being written as an amalgamation of any other book characters, or does she stand alone for the show? To which Rafe responded, Leandrin stands alone. So, Tom, I know
I was shocked.
This puts an end to your theory of her becoming Alviarin.
Yeah. Yeah, and he says, he also says, and so I don't remember if it was in this Q&A, which I just read right before we went on, but I don't remember which. But I also read the other Q&A sessions that he did. But I think he said this at Comic-Con, but that we're gonna find out what Leandrin was doing when episode 8 was happening, like right away. So,
oh yes,
like they're gonna be jumping right into Leandrin's storyline in the Shadow Rising as well, right? That's the interpretation that I had from that comment. So yeah, she's leaving the tower, right?
Yeah,
and likely not to come back.
Yeah, go ahead, Omar.
No, I was going to say too. We saw Joelle, who's playing Joya Viar, or Vier, and she's one of Leandrin's 13. And honestly, she didn't do anything in season 1, so I think that's sort of an introduction into right into or season 2. I'm sorry, she's going to be right there. So if we look at Leandrin and then Joelle and maybe a bunch of others that we'll find out about in that first episodes of season 3.
Ispan is cast, right? We talked about that last week.
Yep.
We got some Black Aja hanging out. So I'm doubling down. I'm taking this opportunity to double down on my hot take last week that Moghedien is not going to play the role of Nynaeve's nemesis in the show. It's going to be Leandrin, because they've already built up so much tension between Nynaeve and Leandrin that I think they're going to be. I think at the end of this season, instead of Nynaeve battling Moghedien, I think we're going to get Nynaeve battling Leandrin.
No, but she's the strongest channeler in 1,000 years. So.
but she has a block. So
I heard that somewhere before.
So has Egwene every time. I honestly think that's one of the ones that they're going to keep. It's for whatever reason, it's an iconic moment. You have the two people. I still think Leandrin has a goodness in her in the show that doesn't exist in the books.
Oh no, yeah, Leandrin has no goodness in the books.
So she has that, and I think we've only mostly seen that goodness with our son and with Nynaeve. And I just don't see how. I haven't seen anything that, unless Nynaeve would do that in the 3rd season, I haven't seen anything that Nynaeve has done to, put out that fire within Leandrin, or that little thing that Leandrin has for Nynaeve. So again, I think we still see Moghedien and Nynaeve, or at least I hope so.
I think Moghedien will play the role later of, they'll collar her or something, because there's a lot of stuff that comes from that. But I feel like Moghedien's also got to probably going to fill some other Forsaken roles, in the sense of, like, if they're going to do, I'm trying to think of a specific story. Like, if they're going to do a Forsaken hiding in the White Tower, they could use Moghedien for that, and she can split time between doing Moghedien stuff and White Tower stuff. It'd be really cool. I don't want to say that, because it'd be really cool if we just meet an Aes Sedai in the tower who's part of the tower group, Elidas group, and then just, like, I don't know, in the second to last season, you find out that she's one of the Forsaken, like, just out of nowhere. That would be really cool. And they did put Masana in. So I don't know. I'm kind of torn between this.
Somebody mentioned that we're going to meet Forsaken that we're not going to know are Forsaken. I can't remember who mentioned it. It was Ray for somebody.
Yeah, I think so.
But again, I see, like like Moghedien, we've seen her already, right?
Mhm.
Like, I think it would make sense if you want to go with a secret reveal of somebody who you don't suspect is going to be a Forsaken. Do it with somebody we haven't met as a Forsaken yet, maybe.
Well,
And honestly,
as-
Masana was like hiding for like 10 books, right?
yeah,
Right.
yes.
Right. Her big reveal didn't go too well either,
Yeah.
really. But
Yes.
She didn't get a lot of FaceTime.
And I mean, not for nothing, they did do that. Not for us because we're insane, but like for regular viewers of the show, they did that in this season. You
But
had
they
a
only
character
did
before.
only 4 episodes. I'm talking about like for introduce a character in this season. It's a
I know
brown
what you're
sister. Like we find out that Yasuka is Masana or Naomi is Masana. That would be really cool.
That would be
They
cool.
just held on to that until the very end.
Do you just on that? I had a question. Do you think they're going to introduce the Mask of Mirrors in the next season, so that you can actually have surprises there? Because otherwise, like, as soon as the Forsaken talk to each other, you're going to be like, "Hey, that's Yasuka. What's she doing there?"
If they're going to do anything of the Lanfear Asmodean storyline in this season from, the Shadow Rising, they're going to have to. You can't just have Lanfear riding like with them the whole time and nobody realizing. And nobody be like, oh, wait a sec. We just saw you the other day.
Weren't we just in the ways with you and you like blew me out of it or something?
But they've got those two. They can do a reveal with that. Like people think like, oh, why isn't Lanfear like, well, they could still do like Lanfear with Asmodean scenes and you don't even know they're in the waste. And then I don't know what they're going to do. They like to keep things a mystery in the show though. Like, so I don't know. It'll probably be fun, whatever they do.
Yeah, I think they're going to really try and do something that they try and do in the Shadow Rising, which is make you think Haddon Kadir is probably a Forsaken in disguise.
And what's her name? Is maybe Lanfear as well, the one that they keep.
The beautiful girl is Lanfear in disguise instead of
Sendra.
Like Sendra, yeah, right. Instead of
Keely,
the fat lady and the Gleeman, right?
Yes. I'm excited for that whole thing. Yeah. Here's a I'm gonna ask this one. There's not much of an answer.
There's a lot of vibration around that question.
I was in a very Jeff Goldblum mode right there. At Lord Matt Cawthon asked, wait a second. Isn't that you, Omar?
No.
This is important for me personally. Are the Finn in or out? To which Rafe responded, which Finn are in? He turned into Dr. Seuss. I don't know. He Dr. Seussed it for us. I don't know. Does anyone want to take an interpretation from that?
That one is just kind of like, how could I have been so dumb? Like it was sitting right there in front of me to ask it in a way that he cannot say that, but I gave it to him that way. Every time I thought to myself, they're not going to do X because it expands the story so much beyond what the TV show can do. They end up doing it. So I'm going to say, I don't think they can bring snakes and foxes or Aelfin and Eelfin, but I think they're going to just get like, you somehow need that for quite a few reasons. So I think hopefully they'll be in.
I hope so too.
I definitely hope so. I've been talking about this for a while on the show. I just I feel like a lot of things that people saw in this season as like, hey, they're foreshadowing. I'm like, no, that's just what you're getting. Like, that's it. That's what you got. Like, you don't get the right. Like, that's how he gets hung. He gets hung in the mirror. That's it. Right. But because I think, like, to me, for television, there's a difference between foreshadowing and like just doing the same thing again. Like I was saying last week's show, like, wait, he makes a magical spear that he can fight with that does a whole bunch of cool stuff. Then he's going to lose that. And then he's just going to get another one like a couple episodes later. And that seems weird to me if I was watching a show without knowing the books and not knowing that there's a problem with his first magical spear. But like people are like, shut up, Tom, you're wrong. So I hope I am. And
So somebody commented on our YouTube video of the live stream last week, and they brought up something else about the dagger on a stick. Matt uses it to magically cut like through the lock on the door.
Yeah.
Like Matt uses the Ashendarai to cut the way into the Tower of Genji. So now they've already established that dagger, Ashendarai on a stick, whatever you want to call it, can cut through like entrance, like to get him out or into places.
Whatever. I feel like I do think that I agree with Omar. Every time I went, they're not going to do the ways. Oh, they did the ways, right? Like they're not going to. Maybe they won't. Like I know they're going to have something with dreams, but maybe they won't do Teleran. Oh, they just said Teleranrion. Like every time I say like they're going to cut something out, they do put it in, and I hope they do. I think that the more that the show dabbles in sci-fi as well as fantasy, I think the better the show is. Like the fact that, like, you know, Brendan always talks about, like, the fact that the past is the future makes this show awesome. And like if they go to an alien dimension, like that's awesome. Like I don't know. So hopefully they do it.
Yeah, maybe they'll just do one trip. Maybe we won't get two trips, but then I don't. So maybe Matt just goes in Meridian or something. I don't know. Like he goes through the doorway in Meridian, and we get.
Or maybe Matt goes in a door one place and comes out in Ruidian, the other side of it.
So he doesn't go to Ruidian, but does his own thing and then finds the doorway, goes through it. Or maybe that's a lot of his arc this season is going through into the Finland. And then he comes out at the end in Ruidian.
I wouldn't say at the end, but like, you know, just kind of enter the door one place, come out the other.
I think that would be interesting. I can see them, like, if you're going to make it one doorway, you make it the doorway, to me, you make it the doorway in Meridian and not like, hey, Phom had the secret magical door that the Shanshan didn't find for the months they were there. Oh, that's interesting. But although
buried under the throne,
you do have the Room of Curiosities that was mentioned, and you could also kind of say like, that's where this came from. Right. No. It was. So you have different ways to go through it.
Yeah. And we are, I mean, we don't know if we're going to go to Tyr, but we do know we're going to Tenchiko, right? And Tenchiko has a bunch of old stuff too. So kind of maybe that's our out. Because Matt's supposed to go to Tyr. What if Tyr is not in the show? What if we're going to Tenchiko instead? And Matt goes to Tenchiko and, you know, enter door one way and come out the other.
No, again, you're saying he doesn't go to the waste. Oh, you're saying he does. He goes to Tenchiko, goes in the magic doorway, and then comes out in the waste.
Yeah.
So he gets
theory. I know, but yeah.
Okay. So, I mean,
I see sometimes. By the way, the show's been sort of avoiding long trips, right? I just kind of like,
except for the first season.
But like, I mean, they did, but that was a long trip, and they cut it down, right? But they just kind of like, we're not gonna roam around the world just to get to Karyan. We're just gonna show up in Karyan. I'm settled in. I'm here.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Right. Like they established it's gonna take us 6 months to get to Phom. No. Someone's gonna teleport you there. Trust me, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Somebody's gonna knock you over the head and just teleport you there. Another one I wanted to bring up, at Silly Dabbit tweeted out, hype, any news on the God of War show you can share, as well as how you plan to balance between it and what? To which Rafe answered, I came up doing 22 episodes a year. 16 every 2 years is easy, especially when you're working with amazing geniuses like Mark and Hawk. So God of War, Wheel of Time, 16 episodes every 2 years. That to me, I'm reading that as like they're going to be alternating years of release. Like God of War comes out 1 year, then Wheel of Time season comes out the next year. Then the next year God of War, and then the next year Wheel of Time.
No, that's not what I understood it as. I understood it as old TV that he used to do was 22 episodes a season.
Yeah.
If he needs to do 8 Wheel of Time and 8 God of War in 1 year, it's less than 22.
But he says every 2 years.
Well, I mean, still, they're doing like whatever. In 1 year or 2 years, he's doing 2 shows, 8 episodes each. Doesn't really compare to the 22. But I would argue, honestly, that I didn't like that answer, honestly. That was one of my least favorite ones because being a showrunner, I think I was talking to somebody. I'm like, this is somebody gives you $100 million right now and tells you, go start a company, and I need it to turn a profit within a year and a half. And then they turn around and give you another $100 million and tell you, at the same time, I want you to be the CEO of another company. And here's another $100 million and go turn a profit. It's not as easy as he makes it sound compared to the old television 22 episodes of, 42 minutes plus advertising, plus expected return, plus
the same crew and cast and
and bottle episodes, and you're in the established studios in LA. It's not the same thing. These are different shows. The VFX on these shows is bananas. It's nothing that compares to the kind of show that he was doing. So yeah, honestly, I didn't like that answer. I really think the Wheel of Time deserves again, maybe he is doing that. I don't want to judge him to say he's not doing it, but it does need a showrunner who's fully 100% dedicated to it. It is a big enough show to deserve that, to have somebody who's doing that for it, not being CEO of 2 companies, just one company. Just my opinion.
Yeah. The Mark and Hawk, those are, I assume, people having to do with God of War, right? Both those people.
Yes, I think he's doing it with like 2 others.
Right. So the way I read that, because Omar, I was talking to you about it, so I think I was talking about it. But like the way that I read it was like, I've got some other guys that are working on, like, it's not me at God of War, like I've got this and then we've got that, and I think that's the way I read that. Maybe that's my hopeful.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. He has that, and by the way, he has that with Wheel of Time because Amanda K. Schumann, I think, is technically in a way a co-showrunner, if you will, if there's anybody on the team. And I think Justine Gilmer is also like starting to step up and go in that direction. But again, I really think if you want to do that and it's just a huge project and it's and you're gonna be distracted by 2, it's also kind of nice to say, you know what, I'm gonna be like the second in command and Amanda's gonna take over Wheel of Time. I'd like to see that, just who's the head honcho, just give it to somebody who's full-time Wheel of Time. Just a selfish man.
Yeah, and I was not concerned at all about him running 2 shows. My concern was that it said 16 every 2 years, made it sound like he's going to be doing, like, the shows aren't going to come out. There's going to be 2 years in between every season, whether it's alternating between God of War and Wheel of Time every other year, or they both come out the same year, skip a year. And then that's my concern, is that we're going to get every 2-year cadence. And I don't think that's because of God of War. I don't think Amazon, if they wanted it to come out with less of a gap between seasons, they would let it. I think this is just what, I don't know. That's my concern.
I think Amazon is very, for whatever reason, even though they're not like this with some of their other programming, they're very distinct about making it separate from Rings of Power. They don't want them to necessarily overlap or be close to each other. So that's one thing. And then 2, the way that the amount of time that this show films, and like Omar said, the amount of VFX, the post-production that has to go into it, it can't be a year apart even. Like, it takes too much time to do it. So like, I think your best case scenario is like 15 months between seasons, and probably closer to 18 months, which if it was right.
Or there's an alternative to that, which none of us like, and we don't like to talk about. But it is. It's like, you can't, like, how long can you keep these actors on if you're going to go full 8 seasons? You're either going to cut the number of seasons or you have to cut the number of episodes. Because honestly, just 2 years is just not going to work. Like, people lose interest, not us. We're not going to lose interest.
No,
we might die though before this show's over. Though that's what
very possible. Very possible. Yeah.
I'd like to live to see the end of this, and not because they cancel it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess we'll find out when season 3 is announced. What that's going to be. Yeah. I mean, I like 15 months is fine with me. Even stretch it to 18. I mean, I don't like 18, but I'll take it. But I can't do 20 to 24 months. That's just insane. People are gonna lose interest in it, forget all about it. So, or you know what? Maybe that doesn't really help though. It's like, nobody does this though, like four episodes every year or something like that to
really make it like a series of miniseries. Like,
yeah, I mean they could. I mean, Walking Dead did like a mid-season finale. They would do like 10 episodes and starting in October, and then it would go on break and it would come back in like February or March for like another 10 episodes for the second half of the season.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't mind that.
It's things like that are possible. I do think that like the biggest thing, I think even more than the fear of fan interest being lost for them, is the aging out of characters, right? Mm-hmm. You can't look, I don't mean to be like cruel like this, but you have actors on the show who are not young. And if you want them to be around for the whole show, you've got to speed it up.
Yeah. Yep, for sure.
Right?
Was there any other questions that you guys wanted to talk about from there? That's all I had on my list.
No, I think you hit everything I wanted.
Awesome. I think
the one thing again, I hate to be like, sometimes the worrisome things stood out, but again, we've been getting the Nielsen numbers, just kind of like like the commentary about how the show was performing, and like it didn't get an assist and whatnot, and it is unfortunate. I really think that the show did suffer from the strikes. It suffered from not getting actors that have 10 million and 11 million, 15 million and 5 million followers to be able to talk about the show. I think it did hurt it. But too, there are other factors like how long it took, and just I don't think the marketing itself was there. Obviously, you're not going to market a second season as you do the first one. But again, that stood out not from an excitement standpoint really, but from a little bit of a worrisome standpoint. But also somebody who creates art like Rafe, if you have our favorite bands or favorite authors and whatnot, people will tell you, go watch this, go listen to this, go buy this. So it's not really out of the ordinary. But again, I wish under different circumstances, the show did get, because it got shafted the first season with COVID and everything else, right? I wish like in the second season, it would have gotten everything just perfect. It deserved that opportunity, and it's sad that it didn't.
Yeah. I want to talk about this next piece of news because Omar, you found an audition tape with one of our favorite characters, and I'm very excited about this. We're gonna, like we usually do, and Omar agreed to this prior to the recording of this episode, that we're gonna reenact this this scene from there. We've got Couladin, yes, Couladin, and in Aiel, Tom will be playing the role of Couladin, and Omar will be playing the role of Aiel. And now we could do this because you guys are off strike. The guild is off strike. And action.
You would have us declare our allegiance to a wetlander.
It is a prophecy foretold.
A prophecy 3,000 years old, translated from a dead language, passed down generations, from mouth to mouth, twisted, misinterpreted to fit around this imposter. Only you were fool enough to believe him. But I know the truth. I have entered Audition. I have seen our people's past and our future.
You've disobeyed the wise ones by entering Ruidion without permission.
Yes, without. Why not? He who comes with the dawn brings change, does he not?
And you call yourself he who comes with the dawn. Then tell me, what did you see there?
I will speak of it with no one, not even you. But what I saw was holy. I am holy. I know the glory of our people's past, the glory that I will bring back to us. I am Couladin of the Domai Sept of the Shaido Aiel. I am he who comes with the dawn. Now bow before me.
You have beans
and seed. That was great. Oh boy. Oh, there's so much in here that I love and I want to talk about. So I think Omar, you wrote the article about this and you actually pulled out a lot of the similarities to the books, to some of the dialogue. I think, it's a mixture of a few conversations. I think there was a conversation with Rand, conversation with who is this? Han Demon Dread.
No, Han Demanded. It's capital D.
Yeah.
Oh, Han Demanded.
It's Han.
Yeah.
Okay, Han Demanded.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
I don't remember which clan it is.
We don't have editors on our stories, but yeah, it was Han. I think Han is the short clan chief. Right?
He's
the short angry clan chief. Yep.
Oh no! I thought somebody else was the short one.
No, Bale's super duper tall. He's like
6'11". Bale is
the
monster. Yeah.
Tomanel.
I think Han's the short.
Mayhem is in chat saying Tomanel. Anyway, I love that he said what he saw was holy, and he knows the glory of people's past. So, spoiler alert: we know that that's not true.
Right.
Do you think at this point that this conversation happens in the show? All right, we don't know if this is definitely going to be in the show, but let's play pretend and say this is going to be in season 3. Do you think this conversation happens after Rand has already gone through the crystal columns? In the book, it does. We know that. This is
so. So here's the thing: the way this reads to me, and like again, the short answer for me is I don't know, because the way you can place this in a couple places, because Couladin has a couple of confrontations. There is one with the wise ones themselves, and this, by the way, we don't have knowledge who he's talking to. He could have been talking to a wise one or a clan chief. So you can actually have him come out of Ruidian and be in front of the wise ones and do this. Or you can have him be talking to the clan chiefs. And if he's talking to the clan chiefs, then it's after Rand has gone through the glass columns. And honest answer, I really don't know which one. But like when I first was watching it, that's what I thought it would be, one of the two.
I feel like if they have this scene after Rand's gone through and we already know about the past of the history of the Aiel, I don't know if people would catch on. I don't know if it would confuse people because they would think, wait a second, I thought this is their past. Why is he saying this? Or people will think he's lying. I don't know.
Yeah. But you bring up a good point. I mean, in the books, we knew he was lying because we just saw what we saw. And then we went to Alcair Dal, and that's where he does that on the ledge with all the clan chiefs. So yeah, that's a good point. If you want to show him as a liar, unless the show doesn't really want to do that, it wants to like hold some, like, did he earn the dragons on his arms, or where did he get them from?
Yeah.
So I have a question for you guys, just on that. Do you think he's lying, or do you think that Asmodean is fucking with him? Like, I never had a comfortable sense that he was in on it, or he went there and Asmodean like fuck with his head and he walked out like really believing it. Like, I don't know how much
I think he's in on it.
I think so too, because he would have, if he wasn't in on it, then Asmodean would have to make him think he went to the crystal columns, because he couldn't actually go there, because I don't think Asmodean, if he went through the crystal columns, I don't think Asmodean could stop him from going. I don't think he goes
to the crystal columns. I think he goes to Rodian. He doesn't know what he's supposed to do. No one tells him.
Oh, okay.
He goes there, and I'm not saying that this is what happened, but I'm saying there is a possibility that he's a dupe, not a willing participant in this falsehood.
This sucks. It's like I almost said, let me go reread that whole thing. It's just not. But I have a sense, like a memory of him sort of knowing, that he, like, not maybe by his own admission, but by something I think that Lanfear might have said to Asmodean.
I thought, didn't he know? Isn't there the scene where Asmodean talks to him about giving him the tattoos?
Asmodean talks to him a lot before he reveals it, right? So I think that, I mean, whatever. If the answer is they're in it together, there's plenty of evidence for that.
Yeah.
But I just think that he's so, like, the I am holy stuff, like to me, like he doesn't seem like he's clever enough to lie that way. Yeah, I guess that's the thing that was always a hook for me. That was like, oh, maybe there's a potential that he's a dupe and not. You never know, because he gets killed pretty quickly in the next book.
But this is the same guy that like just could not believe that Rand would come out alive and his brother wouldn't.
Right.
So he has that like high opinion of himself and his lineage and his family and his tribe and clan and all that would totally say like, yeah, I'm better than everybody. So which again, his brother probably believed the same and went through the glass column. So I truly believe that Couladin could 100% convince himself he's the best of the best. It won't take much for that guy to believe it. So
I'll take it. No, sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack. I was just it was like
no, that's a good.
Reread The Shadow Rising relatively recently, and I it was something that popped into my head as a possibility.
Yeah, I always assumed he was in on it too. I didn't assume he was a patsy. It's exciting that we're gonna get Couladin though in this season, and they haven't cut him. I wonder how much of a role he's gonna play. I mean, I could see that as one of the characters Rafe maybe builds up a little more in the season. I mean, he's around. He's an important character in the Shadow Rising and into the Fires of Heaven.
The Fires of Heaven. He's the main antagonist for the first half of the Fires of Heaven for Rand and Matt, right?
I do want to offer up a disclaimer. We've every audition tape we've found before made it to the show, not necessarily verbatim, but it made it to the show with most of the dialogue intact. We did find there was one that we found that didn't make the show at all of
the Gowan one.
Gowan one, yeah. So like the fact that we see this doesn't mean I would never go out and say like 100% he's going to be. I don't see why he wouldn't be. We have a lot of clues of talking about Ruidian and Rafe and the shooting in South Africa and a bunch of other things lead us to believe that we are going to see the Aiel. We found another audition tape a while back. I don't know if you remember. They were talking about the Shido. So it's sort of like we have two audition tapes, one Couladin, one the Shido. So it's very likely that we see it, but I just want to put it out there that it's not 100% guaranteed that there's an audition tape that means that the character ends up in the show or in the season.
Who was auditioning though? Like the role was auditioning for Couladin, right? The person.
Yes, but it's using it was using a code name. So like every time there's an audition tape, 99% of the time, it was a name that started with a C.
Yeah.
Right. And pronounced with a K sound. So, and from the dialogue, obviously it is Couladin. But that has not changed ever. Every like almost every CV that had a code name, it was the same thing. First phonetic letter matches that of the character.
No, that makes sense. I mean, this is clearly a Couladin scene. I mean, would they audition though for a role? You think? Well, obviously they wouldn't put out I mean, if this isn't like super secret where they're like, we're just going to audition people for roles that we're not planning on putting in there to throw people off. I don't think that's something crazy that like a lunatic would do.
They don't have that gear. But remember Matt Wolf? He's an actor, part of Tour of Time. Did that to Punk Mordanian Intelligence. Yeah, he did that one. I mean, but he's not the production. But could they do it? I just, like I said, I just don't see why they'd waste their time. Yeah,
maybe it's him again.
No. I saw a person. It's an
no. I mean, maybe it's him though, but he got like somebody else to like. He's behind it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And again, this was an actor with a resume and everything. Like, just kind of like does work. So I don't know. There's always a chance. I just with these things, it's not 100%, and we present it as we find it. But it's just kind of we have to wait and see.
That Gowan one could have been for season 3 though. They could have been.
It was too far. That one was like maybe a year before season, like before they wrapped season 2, kind of like it was really far out. It's just there's no way they haven't written scripts for season 3 or even talked about season. It was really like when we found it, it was already like 9 months old, kind of thing, right? So
it sounds like Gowan was in the originally and then wasn't. But I do want to say now that you brought that up, that you screwed up every one of our episode predictions for season 2 because we all tried to shoehorn Gowan in somewhere, couldn't figure out how to do it, and then all it was is that he had a birthday, so off screen.
Yeah, but again, if you're ever going to take a character who's supposed to appear in a season and then cut him, it is
It is the right one to do. Sorry, John.
I wonder how far they got in the casting of him. I wonder if they cast him and then either said, "Oh, we're not putting him in," or they said, "Well, he'll be in season 3, so we'll write up a contract for season 3 or something." I don't know.
We'll call you.
Yeah. Oh wow. Exciting. Couladin. I am very excited to see him in the next season. Do you think he makes it through the entire? Like, do you think his storyline's going to end at the end of season 3, or trickle into season 4?
I think I don't know how you do the band of the Red Hand without like Couladin and the Shaido being the formative event for that. Like,
what
right?
if that happens in the season though? What if like Rand goes to Ruidian in episode,
and then they leave for Carrion at the end?
Like episode 6 is like the climax, right? We find out that Asmodean is that Natal is Asmodean and Lanfear was there. That all happens in like episode 6. The Shaido leave, and then episode 8 they get to Carrion, and that's the end of the season. The battle in Carrion.
That's bananas.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to have to start like really condensing.
Yeah, I do think that season 4, like if when season 4 happens, right, will end with like Lord of Chaos will be done being adapted by the end of season 4. So yeah, they could start pulling in. And I do think of all the storylines. Well, actually, I gotta take that back because the Tenchico storyline's the thinnest in the Shadow Rising, right? It's like there's the least amount of stuff that happens there, so that could move forward too, I guess. But like, they could push that forward. They could at least have them leaving the waste in this season. I think is a realistic thing. Like, although I do think interesting instead of Al Caradal, if it's literally like Rand comes out of Ruidian and the Shaido are leaving for Carrion, and then the second half of the season's a chase. I think that would be interesting.
Yeah, I don't think you can do Al Caradal and Ruidian and Cold Rock's Hold and all those. Again,
Cold Rock's Hold is out.
Yeah, the show. I'm not sure. Again, the show has to pick one of the 3 or maybe 1.5. Or and meaning like you'll be in one, but you're not going to take a journey of 40 days to get there, right? They're either close together or you just like, why would you do? Again, I think we'll see 2 of those probably.
I don't think we need Al Caradal. Like they could just do all that at Ruidian.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I know I had thought about this before and I had just forgotten it, but the fact that they wander 40 days in the desert is something that just jumped into my head again when you said that. So thank you.
Yeah. We got I mean Dana's got right Cold Rock's Hold, Imri Stand, we forgot about that. Al Caradal.
Yeah.
No one said Chandar either. Yeah, I think everything happens at Ruidian. Maybe they stop at Cold Rock's Hold on the way to Ruidian, and I don't know, but you can just go to Ruidian, do your shit there, everything there, and then the chase is on after that. Back to the spine.
That's possible, man.
Yeah, let's do it. There's one more piece of news that I wanted to talk about that just came out recently. This is another one given to us by the wonderful WoTSeries. We've got 2 potential new casts joining season 3. Their names are Iman Morrison. He's most known for playing Lucas in Wednesday, the Netflix show, the very popular Netflix show. I remember his character. And then Ian Atwine, who'd be appearing in a couple of shorts that are coming out soon. Not really much on his IMDb page there. So Omar, I know Eri wrote this one. So it looks like you guys tied this together through CV updates, and also they were tagging photos of each other in the Czech Republic.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you like just to sort of like this fits a certain mold that happens quite a bit where I just looked it up before we started. You'll get like a message from like we have a group like us four right together, and sometimes you just get an update from Ari. This person looks suspicious. It's like exactly the same wording every single time. And then this other person looks suspicious. And then almost always, like a few months down the road, oh yeah, the suspicion was correct. So it's like I don't know how, but it always works out. But yeah, just sort of like again, a lot of times it is some detective work with some signs and some, I'm here, I'm there, and then the CV sometimes. And by the way, like sometimes actors don't put what the exact TV show that they're in. Like Adrian Boucher from like who played Arthur Hawkwing. For the longest time, he just like NDA one episode of popular Amazon fantasy series, and he was in Morocco of April of 2022. Gee, I wonder what that is. It's just kind of like that kind of stuff. Yeah. So these were circumstantial with a good chunk of supporting evidence.
Yeah, I see. So Iman's CV said he's currently filming for Amazon's Untitled project for the past few months.
Yep.
Right. They tagged Ian. CV was updated at the end of October and states he just finished wrapping on a big Amazon project. They both were tagging each other in photos while in the Czech Republic, and they posed in pictures for themselves. What'd you have here? Both actors posted pictures of themselves together at an airport on October 29th, the day after a wrap party was held for the cast and crew of The Wheel of Time.
Yep. And the coolest thing is actually what seems to be a Two Rivers longbow in one of their posts.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, wow. So this makes sense, right? If they're in the Czech Republic, right? We know all the Two Rivers stuff is going to be filmed in and around that area, Slovenia and then the Czech Republic. So that makes sense. We don't know where. We know they're filming in South Africa, and you guys think that it's potentially the Iowa Waste down is what they're doing in South Africa?
Most likely that, and it could be some Tanchico maybe.
Yeah, and then our other main location
for docs and the like. Yeah,
our other main location would be Tanchico, which we don't know where they're filming that. I don't think.
Probably some on-set and backlots and stuff like that. We know they've been in Barandov Studios and probably at Jordan Studios. Probably some have some stuff there. No Estonia though. I would like to update everyone again because Leia Costa said that the show filmed in Estonia in one of her interviews, but she probably misspoke. We heard back from the Estonian Film Commission that they have no knowledge of the show having filmed there any seasons of The Wheel of Time.
Okay.
So rest easy.
No Estonia.
No Estonia. So
very concerned about that.
Me too.
So Two Rivers is what you're leaning towards. So you think they're going to be part of the Two Rivers shooting, or they were part of the Two Rivers shooting. So does that put them as some of the young lads in the Two Rivers that pick up arms against the Trollocs?
I think you might be seeing Will Alcine in one of these as one of these boys.
Lucas. Why I say Lucas? Because he played Lucas in Wednesday.
Iman,
Imam. I could see him as a Will Alcine.
That's right.
Who's the other guy? Is he a Copland?
Or a Conger?
Or Conger.
Isn't there not Tad? What's his name? Who the hell knows?
Ewan Fingar?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, Ewan Fingar, maybe. Well, could one of these be Perrin's, one of Perrin's relatives? Doesn't Perrin have that little cousin or something? That
shows up at the end?
Yeah.
Right? He's like,
is it James Ibarra?
Yeah, I think it's James Ibarra.
Yeah, something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. That's exciting. We got some new casts coming out. I don't know. Are these people all right, so Ian is like, doesn't look like he's really done anything. So he could just be like somebody who has no line maybe, or the Basil Gill role, or where he like says one thing and is in the background.
Right.
Lucas, I keep saying Lucas because I keep thinking of Wednesday. Iman had a fairly big role in Wednesday, so I imagine he would be playing something, a speaking part and potentially be in a decent amount of the season. So I could see him being one of the Two Rivers friends and just kind of hangs around and shows up a lot in the Two Rivers and is part of the big fight at the end. So yeah, very nice, very nice. All right. That is all the news we have. Is there anything else that either of you wanted to mention about anything that we covered before we wrap it up?
No.
Omar?
Just one last mention. There's one casting, and I'm sure you covered in one of the previous, but like, again, my most exciting one is a small role for My Gran by Teresa Doskova.
Yes.
And that, again, just going back to the history of the Aiel, I always say that's, again, everybody likes a certain, like some people, they want the, Neil or BNL, Do My Wells or something. Mine is the history of the Aiel. So just hearing the name, that means at least we get one scene. So that's the thing I'm most excited about.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how they're going to do that episode and how they're going to film all of that. I was thinking of like they did what they did with 90s Accepted Test. That's just like the first. It's just like the first 20 minutes or 25 minutes of an episode or something like that.
I have been banging this drum for at least the better part of a year. I think Rodian, not a traditional, but Rodian should be a bottle episode. It should start when they go in, and the entire episode, there should be no cuts, no B plots, no anything. It's just them and Rodian, and it ends when they're done, and that's it. That's a whole episode. Like you leave. That's episode 4. Episode 3 is a cliffhanger. You don't find out anything that happens till episode 5. Like it would work. That like your scene jumps are Rand, and then you can cut to Matt or whatever, and like that's it. I think that's the best way to do it. I really hope they do. And then I think that's the avant-garde stuff that Rosamund was talking about when she said we just filmed something, because I think there's a possibility that you'll see what she's doing there as well.
So I mean, you could, because you can do all 3 of them going through their respective parts at the same time, right? The whole episode could be Rand, Matt, and Moraine. Matt through the doorway.
And Avienda.
Oh God! Did they show Avienda's?
I think, I would.
That's like a whole. Wow, that's a lot. I think that's too much.
I mean, maybe you can show like a couple scenes from Rand's perspective, something from Avienda's perspective. That'd be kind of nice.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like use like almost like they're seeing the same thing.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Huh. You know what they could do too? I mean, they could even have them experience. Do you think if they did it that way, would they know that each other are there? Would they be able to like see each other and like they're having a shared experience?
Sorry to say this, but this is like Rand is like a distant cousin of Elaine, and he's also a distant cousin of Avienda. So.
Right. Yikes.
Yeah, but honestly, I love that. If there's some sort of, like I said, if they can exist or sort of like notice one another or something, that would be, or something like that. I don't know. It'd be really nice.
The reason I'm saying this is right, because if they make it a shared experience where the 2 of them are experiencing this together at the same time and they film it that way and they're aware that each other are there, it's a great way to get the 2 of them together, right? Because they have this experience together, this outstanding, amazing, bizarre experience together. And it could really help speed up like their relationship story. And maybe they even, maybe we even get an igloo. No, we couldn't get the igloo scene because the Seanchan aren't there around yet, but I don't know.
I mean, I just want to it doesn't make a difference, do whatever they want, but that's not what Avienda does when she goes to Rodian, right? She goes through the rings and sees her alternate futures.
Yes. Yeah, like the acceptance test.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is what Moraine does too.
Right.
So, so we got, so I'm,
But
I like the 3 different things. I like the columns, the rings, and the doorway all happening. Moraine, Rand, Matt, and Moraine.
Yeah, those are your ABC lines.
Yeah. And Tom, you're right, but I believe like it is also like It is canon that the wise ones do also see the history of the Aiel.
They do,
Not necessarily the first trip, but it's some other like
that's
that's
the
later,
last thing they do.
A wise one. Yeah. So maybe they make her a wise one right away. So like maybe who knows? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I like it.
That'd be interesting too.
All right.
Omar,
lock it up, guys.
I want to thank you for agreeing to come on and joining us and giving us your wisdom.
Thank you for having me.
Super behind the scenes insight. It's been a pleasure as always.
I know nothing, sincerely. So just it's all speculation.
All speculation. That's usually right. Are there any are there any articles coming out soon that you could? Maybe... Yeah,
we have a few cast that I honestly don't know when we're going to put them out. So just kind of we'll not necessarily this week. And there's also there are a couple of stories we're working on. So if you don't see something this coming week, the week after for sure.
Awesome. Right. Awesome. We'll all be on the lookout for some new WoTSeries news. Something we need stuff to keep us going during this long break before season 3 comes out, or at least a season 3 trailer or teaser. So
we need some photo that we can talk about for 25 minutes from 800 yards away.
I honestly prefer the single photo than all the video, because it's too much. I get anxiety. I just want one thing to be hyper fixated. I want us all to talk about one frame or 3 frames.
That's it. I want to be collectively. If you zoom this in, this could be a Shawshin eagle with the arrows. If you look at it this way, and it was we were right. So
what you don't like the remember when they the dagger one with where they revealed a piece of the logo, right?
Yeah.
It was like a 5-second clip or something like that from the show. Those are good too.
Yeah.
They're fun.
That's from the show. I don't want I'm talking right. There was something. I remember there was somebody revealing it was a video walking around the set of Falm for a while or something like that. I think I saw. And I'm like, that's too much for me. I can't even I can't. I want give me this, not that.
No, I prefer the actual show release, the official release stuff to talk about. But the behind the scenes, when we got that BTS footage from season 2, that was amazing. I mean, we talked about that forever. So I hope they do more stuff like that where they just sprinkle things, even if it's a 5-second clip of again, of when they showed the dagger and then that was it. And we talked about that for weeks. So.
Yep. I'm just looking forward to them, hopefully, hearing something from South Africa filming, because they are done in Prague for sure.
Right.
Early, late October, early November, they have some filming. We don't know how long they're going to film, but there is some filming. So I'm hoping we get some news, just like we did from Morocco when they went to Morocco for a couple months. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping we'll get some news and clues and photos and everything else. That'd be awesome.
We'll see if the security is as lax as it is in Morocco, because then we'll just be getting people walking around sets and heroes of the horn in costume. All right. I want to remind everyone to follow us on social media. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Join us over in Discord to continue the conversation there. We also post our episodes on YouTube, so go check out our YouTube page and like and subscribe. Rate and review us wherever you listen to podcasts, and check out our merchandise and Patreon pages to support us that way. Links to all the aforementioned information are included in the show notes of this episode. Once again, thanks, Omar. Everyone go to WoTSeries.com. Follow WoTSeries on Twitter to get all the latest Wheel of Time news. It keeps us going through this long, cold winters of in between seasons. So, any last words, Tom?
Happy Veterans Day to all you veterans out there, and American veterans. I don't know when Veterans Day is for anywhere in the country, especially you, Vin.
Yes, thank you all for your service. Thanks everyone for listening, and you'll hear us next time.